A lot of the time, Joe Rogan makes really good content. His podcasts are entertaining, and he just really knows how to capture the attention of his audience and the internet in general. He isn't someone who hides his opinions to please the masses, and that's great and really makes me respect him. But he has said a lot of dumb things that people disagree with, and recently he made a statement about video games that has just completely imploded the gaming community. Now, I will be honest, I really don't think that his take on video games is the worst. It really isn't, but I think that it lacks an understanding of the industry and the nature of video games in general. I really don't think that he deserves to be crucified over his opinion, but he just needs to be informed. A lot. So this is a Dextero article. Joe Rogan says grinding games is a waste of time for most people. Joe Rogan, the immensely popular comedian and podcast host, described video games as a waste of time for most people during his episode with author, fitness guru, and businessman Joe DeSena. There are a few podcasts in the world as listened to as Joe Rogan's Experience. The MMA commentator and stand-up comedian has cultivated a global audience through his JRE podcast. One topic that arises frequently on the show is gaming, with Rogan himself having previously been an avid gamer, but also sharing cautionary tales of his own trouble with the hobby. He expanded his view on his latest show with the author and founder of Spartan Race, Joe DeSena. Video games are a real problem, Rogan said. They are a real problem, and you know why? Because they're fucking fun. You do them and they're real exciting, but you don't get anywhere. So he is saying that video games are a waste of time because they don't get you anywhere. Well, Joe Rogan, listening to your podcast does not get me anywhere. Watching a lot of TV shows or movies doesn't really get me anywhere. It's the fact that you are enjoying what you are doing. Video games are even better than doing something like listening to a podcast or watching a TV show because they give you a sense of accomplishment. If you get a special piece of armor, or a special weapon, or a special mount, you feel like you've done something good, and you feel good. And that is what doing activities like this is about. Also, video games are even being used in things like therapy for people. They use them in physical therapy and even in focus activities. They are being integrated into people's everyday lives, not just because they're fun and because people enjoy them, but because they're a useful tool in specific situations, which I don't think that Joe Rogan and a lot of people really don't understand. Now, he also alludes to video games being addicting. Video games are not any more addicting than anything else. A person with an addictive personality will become addicted to something, and that could be video games. Anything that is not done in moderation can become addicting, and video games most certainly can be on that list. There are ongoing studies about a video game addictive disorder, but no connection to a special disorder other than plain old human addiction has been found. So I just really don't think that playing games is a real problem. Rogan contrasted video games with jiu-jitsu and stated that someone who put in significant effort into running a martial arts school would likely be experiencing success after just 3 years of grinding. He said, you could be doing something exciting and fun, or you could just be playing fucking video games. I disagree with this. I think that a lot of people think that games are exciting and fun, but continuing on, 3 years later, you could just be that same kid playing video games, waiting for the next whatever the fuck it is game to come out. You're going to waste your time. He accepted that there are similar issues around stand-up comedy and that his successful comedy career was actually in defiance of the odds. Regardless, he continued to criticize those that grind video games when there is a very slim chance that they're able to make a career out of it. He said there are kids who make a lot of fucking money playing video games, but you have to be adaptable. You have to be able to play multiple video games, because the one game you get really good at, what are the odds it will be around in 5 years' time. Now, video games have come a long way in our society. They are a huge form of entertainment for adults. I mean, the gaming industry makes more money than the movie and TV industries, clearly showing that its popularity among adults has grown. Esports is revered around the world, but in the United States, it still has a long way to go. Let's be honest. It's not taken as seriously here, but it's finally starting to grow, and Americans are finally starting to understand it, even though it's not as popular here as it is in other parts of the world. The popularity of tons of video game streamers in the United States shows that popularity is progressing and that this industry is only going up. And he talks about the odds of making it. Now, the odds of making it in this industry can't be much different than making it in professional sports. Kids all across the world play sports all the way through high school, like football, soccer, baseball, to see if they're good enough to make it in a professional level and in a professional setting. And then there are a lot of other people who do it simply because it's fun. Just like video games. It all comes back to esports not being taken seriously at all in the United States, where it is taken seriously in a lot of other places in the world. I also want to note that a lot of kids who grew up playing video games end up loving technology, and it leads them down paths of becoming programmers or computer engineers, and these are paths that are easily attainable by average people. The article ends, though, with Rogan's concern is certainly one shared by parents across the world, some of whom are skeptical about the long-term viability of video games as a career. However, there will also be plenty who disagree with Rogan and believe that, even if simply being played for enjoyment, video games can tell stories in a way that nothing else can. There is also evidence of positive effects on cognition, problem-solving, and even eyesight among frequent gamers. So that's all that Joe Rogan really had to say on video games, as this wasn't the focus of his episode. And like I said at the beginning, I really don't think that he deserves to be crucified over what he said. He just really needs to be a little bit more informed about this. And the last thing that I want to say in this video is this: time you enjoy wasting is not time wasted at all, and that is a huge part of life. But let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you agree or disagree with what Joe Rogan said about video games? If you enjoyed this video, though, please make sure to give it a like and share it. And of course, if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.